our resident storyteller who killed it, set the stage on fire last time. Give it up for Arthur. So I was thinking about the stories that I've told over the last few months. Botched surgery, hearing someone burn to death, almost burning to death myself, 9/11, and realizing I'm just going back into my past, picking out the traumatic moments and dragging them out here, putting them on stage for your light entertainment. They seem to have been received pretty well so far, so I'm going to keep going. This particular tale of woe I am titling Civis Romanus Sum, which will make sense by the end for any of you who know your Latin. And if you don't, I don't see why it's my job to overcome the deficiencies of the American educational system. But I don't think anyone else will, so I will just tell you. It means I am a citizen of Rome. But this particular tale of trauma, let me just take a breath, because, change gear. All right, this is about the time that I fell through a wall while having sex. And I'm blushing already. I will not get graphic. I would ask, just so I can try and maintain what little dignity I still think I have, for the duration of this story, please try and refrain from picturing me naked. Or, well, if you're going to, at least remember that when this happened, I was 22. I was a working stunt guy. I had a full set of abs. I even had those little will muscles down on the side. Oh, I had more hair up here and less everywhere else. My accent was so much stronger. My eyes were a piercing blue as yet undimmed by, well, all of the things I've already told you have happened. Or everything. They still had hope in them. But while I was in better shape, the place where I was living, you could not say the same about that. It was a rather decrepit post-war apartment building in Queens, New York. But I was young, and I was living there with a young lady who was fiercely outspoken, had a fiery temper, and bright, flaming red curly hair. So apparently I have a type. But I need to make this clear, because you all know Danielle. This was years and years before I met her. Please, the next time you're talking to her, don't be like, did you fall through a wall? No! Different woman, no one you know, so we're cool to talk about it. Ancient history. When in your life you've been having sex for a few years, maybe with a few different people, maybe with a lot of different people, I don't judge. But you're finally starting to actually get good at it. And you get through this phase where you're like, this sex thing, this is all right. I wonder what else we can try. And in my girlfriend, this manifested on the day she said, out of the blue, I have an idea. Why don't we nip down to the supermarket, pick up a gallon of Western vegetable oil, come back, get naked, pour it all over ourselves, and see how slippery we get. Well, I thought this was a bloody brilliant idea. Because, as everyone who is interested in, classical history knows, as everyone who is an aficionado of the Greco-Roman period is aware, as every fan of the Roman Empire can tell you, the Romans never invented soap. They would anoint their bodies with oil, rub it in, and then scrape it off with a specialized tool called a strigil. It was usually made out of reed, or in noble families out of bronze. And no, I didn't think of any of that. Yeah, nuts, I was 22. An interest in ancient people and classical antiquities doesn't happen until you're middle-aged, and then it just turns up, whether you want it to or not. Just one day, along with maturity, crow's feet, and back hair, it's just there. None of that crossed my mind at 22. I had no idea of the bathing habits of the ancient Romans. And yet I still thought this was a bloody brilliant idea, which I think tells you just how red her hair was.
Oh my God!
But once we actually had the oil in hand, we realized if we try this in the bedroom, we are just going to get oil soaking into the mattress. If we do it in the living room, we're going to wreck the carpet. The only place we can actually conduct this noble experiment is in the bathroom standing in the tub. Now, as a highly trained and experienced stunt performer, I immediately realized that slippery oil on a slick enamel surface is a recipe for one or both of us to end up in the emergency room. So I had the idea of putting a couple of towels down in the tub first, just so we could keep our footing. I need to tell you, those towels have absolutely nothing to do with the story. I mention them purely altruistically, just in case any of you are inspired to duplicate our research. If you are motivated to explore our scientific inquiries further, if you're going to try this at home, think about traction in every sense of the word, safety first. What we didn't think about, because we didn't know, is that the building was so old, the walls of the bathroom were not made out of concrete backerboard as they would be in modern construction. They were plaster overlaid. And the tiles around the tub were so old that the grout had become porous and water had been seeping through into the wall over the years, perhaps over the decades, and had compromised the structural integrity of the wall. We discovered this at a particularly critical moment. I said I wasn't going to get graphic, so I would just say we were pressure testing the wall with the Newtonian equivalent of two bodies. I was kind of holding her back. We were stress testing the wall rhythmically, repeatedly, a lot. At which point the wall collapsed. And I don't mean, as you might think, like the back kind of the crunched in a little around her back. The entire wall cascaded down around us. The bathroom was filled instantly with billowing clouds of acrid white plaster dust. The tub filled up to my knees with broken chunks of wall and plaster and lathe and hundreds of broken tiles. And we were covered in oil. So all of the pieces of tile and lathe were sticking to us. And it absorbed the plaster dust from the air. So within a couple of seconds, we were absolutely white from head to toe with bits of tile all over us, and we looked like a Roman mosaic. And need I remind you of the position? We were a Roman mosaic of that particular kind that so offended the delicate sensibilities of the early Victorian discoverers of Pompeii. Compounding the issue, there was nowhere to get clean because our only tub was now filled with demolition debris, and the wall of the bathroom had a whacking great hole in it through which we could see the people in the hallway outside the apartment, and vice versa. The only thing we could do was to repair to the kitchen, improvise a pair of strigils out of butter knives, and methodically scrape all of the plaster oil paste from every inch of our bodies, and then kind of wipe down as best we could with paper towels. So I just wanted to tell you, the Romans were onto something, because my skin has never felt so soft.